All right, everyone. Are we about to see the most unpredictable first division in years, or is the title race already decided? If you think it's too early to judge the season, think twice, I would say. Today, I'm joined by Cornell and John O'Shea as we do two things football fans love. First, we review the Premier Division results from the weekend, what stood out, what worried us, and what might be already shaping the season. And then we turn our attention to the first division, where we preview the campaign ahead, top contenders, dark horses, and the clubs under pressure from day one. No cliches, no safe predictions, just honest football chat. If you enjoy these conversations, give the podcast a thumbs up, subscribe wherever you are listening, and share it with a mate who never agrees with your football opinions. Let us know in the comments who you think goes up in the first division, who will struggle, and which take from today you would like us to be a challenge. So, subscribe to the channel, please. Drop a comment with your first division prediction, and we will revisit later in the season. Cornell and John, how are you doing, guys?
Very well, thank you very much.
Good, thank you.
Good stuff. Let's jump to the games then. As promised, there's plenty to be said. So we'll start with Waterford Shelbourne. Waterford that ended as a 1-1. Not sure if we were expecting that. So both sides found the net, John, but they couldn't clinch it. Which team do you think needs the result more right now, and why?
I suppose over it'd be obviously one day of the season. I suppose it's kind of a key. You'd rather, I suppose, you obviously like to win the games, but I suppose you'd at the same time you probably one game and you probably just take the point and move on. I think from a Waterford perspective as well, from watching the highlight, I suppose maybe they might be kind of more maybe the way it panned out. The more happier the two with the fact that obviously coming from behind and equalising and getting the point. I think Waterford as well this year. I think they're a kind of side, particularly at home. You could see them causing teams, all teams in the league, kind of a bit of headaches and a bit of problems. Like obviously, Padraig Gammon still like a fine wine. He's still arguably one of the best forwards, if not the best finisher in the Premier Division. And obviously Conan Noonan kind of for Shamrock Rovers as well. I think he's going to be a young player to watch this year as well. Though he's going to be a lively presence, I think. And obviously Tom Lonergan, the scoring down. They have a decent attack up there, and it's kind of obviously John Daly going in there now as well this year. A bit of change. Obviously Benny Couto and Evan McLaughlin as well were probably two of Cork's his better players last year who were down Waterford. So it'll be interesting to see how they go on as the season goes on. I think they'd be capable of getting team, or especially at home, getting points off most teams in the league. Like Shells are in. You'd be thinking they're one of those teams as well who I think they like Joey O'Brien out his first full off season there now this year as well. Obviously taking over in the middle of last year after Damien Duff departed. But Shells look like the kind of a squad you think that they will be there or thereabouts, and they'll be looking to be up near the top of the table in terms of challenging. It'd be interesting this year, obviously, with the new thing with the link up they have with kind of the analytics company this year as well with Shells in terms of their recruitment. It will be interesting to see how that goes. Fred Hess, the player from the second or third tier of Portuguese football, I think he looks like he potentially could be a good talent, and I suppose it'd be interesting to see how that kind of matches up in terms of the recruitment. But there's still a good core at Shells side that you like Paddy Barrett, Harry Wood, McEnroy. There's still a good core, and there's still a good few core lads that would have won the league with Shelbourne the year before last as well. So they'd be looking to be up near the top of the table for sure. But I suppose overall, I suppose they would have preferred to win by those eight. At the same time, going down to Waterford the first day out, it's probably not the worst result in the world either to be getting a point on match day one down there.
Right, Cornell. Waterford and Shelbourne, they share the points. What stood out to you in that game, and who do you think will look back on this draw as a missed opportunity?
I saw the highlights of this game. I thought both teams played well, which they did. Shells obviously, were pegged back a couple of times. Yes, they had chances, which they did. They could have had at least 1 or 2 goals, and Joey O'Brien has recruited very well over the winter with transfer window. He's brought in Rodrigo, he's brought in Lundgren, he's brought in. He almost lost Meepo, of course, which would have been a massive blow to go to the Belgian league, but he's held on to his best players. Waterford, obviously, I think will feel probably undone by, because they were pegged back in the first half because Shells were just having so much chances. Obviously, they had a penalty. They missed the penalty, and then they owned up for it. Brilliant assist from Meepo to set up John Martin to score the first goal. They basically thought they could hold on to the onto the lead. I think maybe Weasel Spill could have done better with the shot, even though it flected on the bar and went in. But maybe he could have done better with the save. But I think probably Shelburne, I think, will be the ones that will be regretting that they didn't walk out with 3 points. And to go to Shelburne's ground is not easy. It's very, very difficult, and you've got to be a very good team or a very good side for you to go to their ground and get 3 points, because it's not easy when you've got Alman. I mean, look, as John O'Shea say, Conan Noonan has been really fantastic in good form. Longeren knows where the goal is, knows how to finish and put goals away. Yes, we all thought we could see Alman basically going to score goals, but look, the season just started, and I think there's a lot coming from Waterford. So I think Shells will be the one regretting that they didn't get all 3 points, but I think both a point was very valuable at the ending for both teams.
Right, let's move to a very dramatic game which took place in Derry. So Derry came from behind and grabbed the win in the later stages. Do you think, John, their resilience under pressure shows that they're genuine contenders this season, or was Sligo's finish just unlucky?
Yeah, I think especially the first, obviously with Derry as well, there's a lot of, I suppose, Royi, and I suppose definitely, I think the owner as well up there, Philip O'Doherty, has been very kind of vocal in terms of that this is the ambition is to bring the League of Ireland title back to Derry. So, and even in terms of the squad they have there as well, obviously like James McLean, that high, it's a really high profile addition into the squad or into League of Ireland football as well as a whole. But but other than that as well, like the squad they have there, like Darren Markey, who's been very good at Drogheda the last couple of years, Josh Thomas as well, the new addition, obviously getting on the score sheet on Friday night. I think overall, and I think even the Derry manager was even referring to it after the game as well in his interview on Virgin Media. That's probably going to take a bit of time in terms of, and just because in terms of the new faces and everything, it's going to take time for it probably to gel together in terms of the style of football. And like I often think I think even as the season goes on, I think you'll see that quality shine through with Derry on the pitch and like on paper as well. Like they probably, you could argue they have probably the strongest squad in the division. You could make a fairly strong case for that as well. And like in terms of the game Friday, it probably performance-wise, it probably was one of those that they're happy just to get the 3 points and move on. It was for Svel, particularly in the first half. Sligo looked particularly impressive going up there as well, and I think there's definitely, and although as well the pressure kind of mounted, and in the end Derry came away with the 3 points. But I think from a Sligo perspective, Cian Kavanagh was good with it. Hideki, I think as well. Sligo, I think I've been impressed obviously with John Russell as manager up there the last couple of years as well in terms of what he's been doing there. And I think definitely, particularly with the first half, there was quite positives from a Sligo perspective that they could take into the coming months, and that they can be competitive in this division again. But I think overall, I think Derry will be happy just to get the point, and and especially I think because of the redevelopment works that are going up there in the Brandywell later on in the next couple of months. Their first 4 games are at home, so it's a good opportunity for Derry to kind of get that early momentum and kind of lay down their marker early on in terms of being real contenders for the title this year and going toe-to-toe with Shamrock Rovers. And I think the President's Cup the previous week was a good example of that as well. I think that Derry want to be bringing silverware up to the Brandywell, and I think that the likes of the signings that they've made there, it's a firm statement of intent. And like James McLean, he's even been saying, he said himself in the build-up to the season, though, I suppose it's not going to be sailing off into the sunset. Like, he wants to, it'd be the perfect way from, he said, to end his career to win a League of Ireland title with Derry City. And I think Derry will very much be a firm player, in my opinion, in the title race this year.
Right, Cornell, Derry showed fight to come out on top, but how much credit goes to their tactical changes versus Sligo's game plan breaking down?
I think first of all, we have to give absolute amazing credit to Sligo Rovers. They worked very hard in the first half. They absolutely pushed Derry City to the absolute limit. Brilliant finish from Jerky. He's going to be such a player to watch this season in the League of Ireland. Obviously, Sligo Rovers were having much more of the ball, and I don't think Derry City was expecting to be dominated just like that. But I think Ian Lynch had to make the changes at halftime. He had to make the changes in the second half because Sligo Rovers were really making life very, very difficult for Derry City, and I don't think Derry City was expecting to be pegged back and to be to be really tested like that. I mean, look, we all know about Derry City being favourites for the title. We all know that, but to be really true favourites, even though the season has already got underway, these are the type of games that you need to be winning. But yeah, I think Derry City was just very lucky to get all 3 points, and I think if they didn't look very well, I think Sligo Rovers would be victorious. But I think Sligo will be very undone by, because they felt they could go into this game and really make a huge difference. Adam O'Reilly made a huge difference as well. Akiki made it as well. Because I did say in the previous podcast, Victor, that I felt that I was a little worried about Sligo, because Eldon's gone to Hibs, and I wasn't sure how they're gonna really correspond without Eldon, and it's very difficult to replace players like him. But as it states or whatever, I think Sligo can be very, very proud of their performance of how well they played against Derry, and I think they've shown how good they can be against underdog side. And Sua, obviously, I'm very impressed with him as well. Brilliant signing for Sligo Rovers. But I think Derry has shown that they've shown their weakness of how they really, really look. But I think, listen, the season has just begun. I still believe that Derry City can be favourites for the title, but when you're coming up against a team like Sligo Rovers, they're not the easiest of teams, and they are an underdog team that can really make a difference. So I think they'll feel undone by, but Derry was very, very lucky to take all 3 points and to be top of the table on the first start of the new season.
Another dramatic game that also took place in the west of Ireland. Galway had more possession, yet Drogheda took the points. John, does that expose a lack of cutting edge in Galway's attack, or does it highlight Drogheda's defensive strength and game management?
I think definitely in terms of Drogheda's in terms of how they manage games and how they're able to consistently, they seem to people seem to say that they're defying the odds, but maybe when they're doing it so consistently, it's more of a testament to how good the setup is there and how good a manager Kevin Doherty is there. Like, you can make a very strong case, in my opinion, over the last couple of years, like that Kevin Doherty has been right up there as probably one of the top managers in League of Ireland football in terms of how he's got Drogheda so competitive, and he has them season after season really, challenging up, and they probably would have viewed it maybe last year's maybe a slight disappointment that they probably missed out on European football, even though probably if you're looking at them maybe budget wise in terms of like maybe last year they probably been overachieving, but it's probably they're just really they just kind of know their roles, and you know, they can get results and go to play like, but they have that kind of blend of youth and experience as well there as well, and it's a big testament to what Kevin Doherty's doing there. I think from Galway's perspective, like, you'd be thinking like that. I suppose the opportunity, the missed penalty from David Hurley was probably something they'd be looking back on as a missed opportunity in terms of, like, if that goes in, how different could the game have gone? But so all things, I think, like, Drogheda, I think it was probably more a testament to Drogheda and how resilient they are and how they can go and get results. And like, not only like they've been teamed, they've like in the last year or two, they've been going to places like Tala and getting results against Shamrock Rovers or going to the Brandywell. They've been going to, on their day, they're capable of going and really getting results off anyone in the league. They've shown the last couple of years, and I know it's only one game down this year, but like I'd get the sense anyway that Drogheda, it could be much of the same from them this year as well, and they'll be a banana skin for any team in this division, you know.
Right. Cornell, Galway dominated the game, only for Drogheda to snatch it late. How much of a warning sight is that for Galway heading into the season? And is Drogheda's counter-pushing game something teams will struggle to break down later in the season?
First of all, I'm very pleased for Drogheda United to get their first 3 points of the League of Ireland season. Galway United, on the other hand, are really going to struggle this season. They haven't been at their best since Moses Dyer, and certain other key players have really left the club. I mean, their only best player at the moment is David Hurley at the moment, who had a few chances in the game. But look, I think Drogheda really showed the quality and the class that they have in the team. They were dangerous going forward. They were, Galway couldn't handle them. They couldn't handle their defense. I thought Denilson pulled off some amazing saves from start to finish, which he did. They defensively, they look very, very organized at the back with Keeley, who's been very, very crucial to their back line. Midfield, obviously, all over the park, I think, is fantastic for Drogheda, and Drogheda can be very proud of their performance. Galway United, on the other hand, they've just been poor. They've been absolutely poor. And even though the season has just begun and it's just started, any Galway United fan has to worry and kind of think, where does Galway United go from here? If they don't get any wins out of from now till round 2 of the League of Ireland Premier Division until the end of the season, you kind of really worry and kind of think, well, where do they go from here? Does the manager have to be questioned? Does the certain players have to be questioned on not replacing their key valuable players that they had last season? Do they have to question, could they have replaced Moses Dyer a bit more? Those are the things that you have to ask, because losing to Drogheda, no team doesn't want to be playing Drogheda United, because when they start setting up defensively and setting up well in midfield and in the final third, they are they're not an easy team to play against. But as I always said, or whatever, they fully deserve the 3 points. But Galway United has got a lot of sorting out to do, and I think they've got to really look at this and think, how didn't they get a point out of it? But the reason is because they're struggling so much, and it has, and they haven't replaced Moses Dyer, which they haven't. And I did say, even before the start of the League of Ireland, I can see them fighting for relegation, and I could see them going back down to the first division if they're not careful. But Drogheda United are showing the real underdog quality of the team that they are of today, and where they are today, and you have to thank their manager for that, because their manager has really got the best out of those players. And yes, I did thought at one point they would struggle without Douglas Taylor in the team, but they've shown that they can really deal without him, and they've got young players from the youth academy that they're given a chance to. So but Galway United are just not good enough at the moment, and I think this loss against Drogheda has really shown them how really bad they are. Right,
let's finish with the Dublin Derby. John, a goalless draw between Bows and Pats, does that tell us more about defensive discipline or attacking bluntness? And which side needs to take clear direction from this result?
It's probably, I think, looking at even Bows and like in terms of that clinicus and the attacking third, especially looking at the game yesterday, they'd probably be the ones thinking they probably could have more regrets in terms of the opportunities that they had. You know, they had Parsons had a couple of good opportunities. One in particular, he went 1-on-1 with Joseph Anang and the Pats goal, only for Anang to make the save. But I think overall, these are kind of two teams I would expect to be up maybe around the top 3, top 4 in the league over the whole season. And like I think it kind of was a lot of that yesterday. Maybe a lot of them it was kind of cancelling each other out, and as much as they kind of were looking to win the game, it was probably a case of like they were, you know, they didn't want to lose it the first day out either, so they'd probably both take the point and move on. But I think overall, I think that, you know, there's probably Pats, like there was, there's probably a lot of, you know, in terms of it was a big appointment for Stephen Kenny going in there as well. So, and I think the way the end of the season in the last year was a bit of a disappointment from a Pats perspective, and so they would have had ambitions like to bring silverware and they still do have ambitions to bring it. So like you know, they'd be definitely hoping to kind of be riding the shake up for silver this year, as will Bows. You know, they're two sides. I think if you look at them on paper and the quality they have in both teams, that they're both going to have that kind of incentive to be challenging, and they're both going to want to be kind of up near the top as well. Overall, I think it probably was a fair result, even though probably Bows in the end probably they probably had the greater opportunities on the day.
Right, Cornell. There was a lot of excitement around this game. We discussed it ourselves. Do you see the 0-0 as a positive sign of resilient defending, or should both managers be frustrated that they couldn't turn their chances into actual goals?
I think it's both. I think both defenses were on top. Bowles' defense was very good in defensively. St. Pat's obviously, you know, have to thank Yang, who was absolutely sensational with the saves that he made from start to finish. Bowles had the chances as well, despite that, you know, both teams put up their stronger starting 11. I did expect some of the new signings to basically start for St. Pat's, which they did. I mean, we saw Ryan Edmondson start, and I was a bit surprised that Max Matter didn't start, but you know, hoping it's not. I hope he ain't got an injury or something. But look, I think a draw was the very outcome for both teams, because I think Bowles will probably feel that chances should have gone their way, because the amount of chances that Bohemians had, they could have had at least two or three goals. But look, I think both teams will be very settled with a point, but I know Bowles will probably feel undone that they should have got 3 points out of it, because the game was there for the taking and it was there for the winning. But look, I think St. Pat's have got a lot of work to do. I mean, we saw some good qualities from Roman Boyce, to be honest. You know, don't get me wrong. Didn't see as much from Edmondson, obviously, because he's still new and still trying to get used to how Stephen Kenny wants to play. You know, and obviously, look, we got to see Max Matter in there. We haven't seen him yet. So hopefully he's not injured or anything. But look, I think St. Pat's have got a long way to go, and they've got some improvements to really do. But Bowles, I mean, good to see Harry Vaughan alone from Hull City getting his opportunity, because I did worry that they could. I'm not sure how they will replace James Clark, but look, I think a draw was very valuable for both teams, and I think they can walk off the pitch with their heads held high. And brilliant atmosphere in the Aviva Stadium, to be honest, absolutely brilliant.
Right, let's move to the first division. Let's encourage the viewers to provide their input. Who is going up from the first division? Let us know in the comment section, and what other predictions we should discuss. We will take them along the way. We will go on an alphabetical order, just not to be biased here. So we start with Athlone Town. John, Athlone have historically punched above their weight. What key areas do you think they must improve this season to push for promotion?
I think probably to be just looking to kind of really just be more consistent in terms of the result. Like they probably were down last season for sure would have been a disappointment for them. But like I think as well in the middle of last year, obviously Ian Ryan going in as manager there as well, who's very capable and very proven at getting teams kind of like. So he did a very good job with Wexford previously, during which time he would have been linked with the with the Bows job. I think he was. I think he got to the state at the time, but he was one of the. There was kind of talk the Bows were looking to try to bring him in as manager around that time a couple of years ago. So like and even at Bray subsequently as well, he's good at that level. I think one of the kind of the standout kind of additions as well in terms of the experience as well there was Brendan Clark, who's obviously was at Galway United and a 40-year vastly experienced goalkeeper in the League of Ireland. So he's gone into that loan this year. So you think he'll bring a lot of experience to the setup. I think like Aaron Conley's another player there. Not the Ireland international or the former Brighton then, but the Athlone Town Aaron Conley. He's a guy that they're looking to kind of to cause a bit of a threat this year as well. And I think they'll be looking to hopefully kick on and be one of those sides around the playoffs. Because in the last couple of years, the women's side of the club have really been thriving up there in Athlone in terms of winning the Women's FAI Cup and winning the Women's League of Ireland Premier Division. So they'll be hoping that'll bounce off and rub off on all sides and on the men's team as well this year as well, you know.
Cornell, what about you? Do you see Athlone style as one that could frustrate higher priced teams? And if so, how might that translate over the long run?
I think Athlone Town, I think, obviously would have learnt their lessons from last season. It didn't go so well for them. They missed out on promotion to the Premier Division for this new season. I think they'll right now. I think with right now how they play, how they will want to play. They want to play with confidence, and they'll be determined and ever to make sure that they're in and around the top 2, top 3. And to make sure that they get it right, bring in the right players as you would self-proclaim for them to do. And I think as well to as John say, for them to be consistent, you know, enough for them to really believe that they can mount a serious title challenge for them to really be up there this season. So I think it'll be very interesting how Athlone Town do this year, but I think they'll finish as high as they can, and I think the belief is there at the present moment.
Right, next in the pipelines, Bray Wanderers. John, with new ownership and fresh ambitions to go up, how much pressure is on Bray Wanderers to transform ambition into performance this year?
I think definitely to be the expectations, you know, and I think at the very least to be challenging for the playoffs again would be, I think, the minimum requirement at the very least there and break like the last season. I think in obviously getting to the playoff final against Waterford, and I think they acquitted themselves very well that night. So on another night that result could have gone another way. Obviously Waterford won it in the end, but on another night I think Bray could have come out and won that game, and we could be having this conversation with Bray in the Premier Division. But like, you know, I think overall, I think they'll get them. I think if they got off to a good start, you think they could be a side that will be there or thereabouts again. That's for sure. They've got some good young players in the club at the moment. You know, I think Billy O'Neill is someone who kind of stands out. I think he scored 11 goals from last year. And he was impressive even in that playoff game as well. And he's a kind of a guy. I think that he was lucky not to even be just to miss out on the Ireland squad for the World Cup, the under-17s. So like there's some good young players there as well. And often I think as well there's some of their proximity to Dublin as well. Often he would Bray that they have that kind of luxury or advantage of maybe getting guys who maybe on loan, or maybe players from some of the clubs in Dublin in the Premier Division who might just be just outside, maybe on the fringes of the teams that they're with, maybe on like maybe Bows or Pats or whatever. That sometimes they kind of tend to go down to Bray as well. But I think Bray overall, they have the looks of a squad and the looks of a setup who look like they could be in right in the shake-up again, and you wouldn't be surprised to see them finishing in the top 3 or top 4 in the first division again this year, and being a key player once more in the playoffs at the very least.
Cornell, do Bray have the squad depth to sustain a title bid, or they are, say, more likely to be just battling for the playoff picture?
I think with the additions that Bray has added into their team, I do think that they have the squad depth for them to really go on and challenge for the playoffs or finish higher than that. I think they just need to be more consistent, because I think in the playoffs against Galway United, when Galway United was battling to stay along with Waterford last season, we all thought that Bray was going to do something special and knock out one of the big teams for them to go into the Premier Division for this new season, but it didn't happen. So I think if they can be more consistent, in their squad, Bray, I do believe that Bray Wanderers will have a chance of really making the playoffs and really battling to stay up there this season and really keep the momentum going, because they are a very, very good side, and I've watched how well they play, and they are a brilliant side to watch, and I like the way they play and the players that they've got in their team. So I'll be very interested to see how well they do in the first division and how far they can go this season.
Let's move to the Rebel County, John. First we go for Cove, just to respect the alphabetical order. And now we are all thirsty to speak about Cork City, but it is what it is. We need to be compliant. Cove are always tough at home. Do you think their form at St. Coleman's Park could be the foundation of an upset campaign?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. I think they'll be looking to make Coleman's Park a fortress this year for sure. And I think looking at them, I think Ramblers definitely could be, probably if you're looking at a team that could challenge, maybe, I know we'll probably go into predictions in terms of the title and stuff like that, but I think Cove look like a side who could be one of the main challengers to Cork City in the first division this year. And I think they'll definitely look to be a firm player in the playoff picture. I think the statement as well, bringing someone in like Gary Buckley was a strong statement of intent. I know obviously they've lost Barry Coffey, who's gone abroad now to America, and Niall O'Keefe has gone to Cork City actually. But I think they'd be happy with the recruitment. I think overall, the Gary Buckley it's a big statement of intent to get a player like him into the club. With his experience winning the double with Cork City and playing obviously for the last couple of years at Sligo and most recently Galway United. Wilson Maweru as well as a good attacker. Back at the club again after a spell on loan there a couple of years ago. So he's a good addition from Sligo Rovers. I think and then obviously I think the bulk of the squad there as well, they have a good core of the squad that were there last year are still around. And Fran Rocket is I think obviously in there as manager now. He's a very capable coach, and obviously a former player, but also he was involved. He was the assistant manager under Shane Keegan a couple of years ago when Cove had a good one, and they went far into in the playoffs. So I think and I think another player to watch for Cove this year as well is Josh Honahan's younger brother, Callum Honahan, who's gone on loan there from Shamrock Rovers down to Cove. So it'd be interesting to see how he progresses. Though he's a guy who's kind of highly rated as well, like his brother, who's actually who's over Lincoln at the moment, Josh Honahan. So it'd be interesting to see how his brother Callum gets on down in Cove. But I think overall, I think Cove will. I think they look very well equipped. I think to be looking at a top 2 or top 3 at the very least. And if we're looking at a title race, I think Cove could be one of the ones who could be looking to push Cork City the most. I think really in terms of if you want to have a title race, I think Cove could be the most likely challengers. If you look at the squad and look at the players that they have there.
What do you make of Cove's off-season changes, Cornell? Can stability here turn into results on the pitch?
I think the changes that Cove Wanderers Ramblers have made this winter transfer window, I think, has been fantastic for them. I think Cole will look at this and think that they can find a way to push Cork City and be the contenders for the title. I think, as I said, as I was saying, about Bray Wanderers as well. I think as long as they can keep the consistency going, I don't think Cole will have much of a problem. Obviously, yes, Callum Houlihan's gone to Kolb on loan. Obviously, his brother Josh Houlihan's come to us, Lincoln City, who's still out injured at the moment. But I'm still looking forward to seeing what he brings. But look, I think Cole can be very proud of the additions that they have made to the squad. So I think their best player, I think, will be Callum Houlihan. I think we'll see the very best of him, and I think there'll be more to come for him because he's still the next generation and still highly rated. So I think they'll be in and around the title race, and I think they could be challengers for Cork City this year.
And talking of Cork City, John, Cork fans like ourselves, we will expect instant promotion after relegation because that has been the pattern for quite some time. Do you think that expectation is realistic this season?
Yeah, I think definitely. It's probably, if you're looking at even in terms of the league and the growth of League of Ireland football the last couple of years, Rovers and Derry and stuff, in terms of the potentials that those clubs have. I think the ceiling, Cork City is one of those clubs that has a ceiling as big as those. Maybe it's not bigger, in terms of maybe if you get a club in the second biggest city in Ireland. So like I think the ambition, and I think as well that the supporters kind of are rightly do have big expectations and demands on the club, and I suppose you can understand. It's understandable why there's been a lot of frustration, maybe, and a lot of disillusionment, maybe with the way things have been going the last couple of years. But you're hoping now this could be hopefully the end of the yo-yoing might be hopefully the end might be in sight in that sense. So I think definitely in terms of the bit of business that they've done, I think obviously bringing in Simon Grayson first of all as a advisor to the board of the club, and then obviously bringing a manager like someone like Barry Robson in as well, from the former Celtic player, obviously former Aberdeen and Raith Rovers, man in as boss there as well. Like, so I think that it is it was a kind of a high profile appointment, I think, when it was made as well. And I think obviously he'd be looking to say he stall out and kind of put his imprint on the team as well over the next couple of months. But like, I think definitely and it's probably maybe that division and maybe the direction that the club maybe want to go in it's probably a big reason why they've retained, and that's probably one of the big things this season as well, in terms of it's the guys that they've kept in the building, in terms of like the likes of Shawnee Maguire, who had obviously interest from the likes of Shamrock Rovers and Bows, if we're led to be believed, in the off season, and Rory Keating staying as well. And I think that was a big one, and I think having him back to full fitness, he was unfortunate he was out for most of last season. And then, in Bongo as well up front, he scored goals at the second half of last year with Finn Harps. So like that is a real that's nearly like a Premier Division quality strike force if they stay fully fit and if they start firing. And then I think also in terms of the young lads that are there, there's some good young players, and it'll be a good opportunity for them to shine in this year. I think as well we'll see a couple of lads emerge, and significantly as well. Also, I just think keeping the experienced guys, the likes of Rory Feely in particular as well. I thought that was a good bit of business to keep him tied down, because I would expect that he would have had interests from clubs in the Premier Division, maybe the likes of Waterford or other clubs in the division would have definitely been keeping an eye on him in the off season. So I think City, they probably look to be in a good position to try to make it. I think first of all, I think it's not even this year, but it's kind of more over the next 2 or 3. City fans want to see something sustainable, and I think obviously the first hurdle is to overcome getting out of the first division, getting promotion at the first time of asking for them this year. But if they hopefully do, like from a City perspective, do get promoted, you want to see signs that there's something sustainable to build on, and that they can consolidate in the top tier of Irish football in the Premier Division, and then hopefully kick on from there. But like rather than, because at the moment I think I've probably mentioned it in the show as well the last couple of years, how Cork City have probably been turning into the UCD of League of Ireland football in terms of how they've been yo-yoing up from the first division down to the first division, from the Premier Division back up to the Premier Division, down to the first division. So I think first of all, that has to. I think that City fans want to see that stopping, and first of all, that getting promoted this year, and then cut that rot and just try to kick on and try to get the club to reach its full potential. Because I think it's a good bit off where the club could be, and hopefully in the next couple of years the club can start taking steps towards being a really thriving club down here and in League of Ireland football, and that is really potentially being one of the biggest clubs in the country, you have to say, or if not the biggest club in the country, you know.
Cornell, how important will winning tight games be for Cork City, and can we handle the pressure that comes with being the favourites?
First of all, Cork City obviously being relegated last season wasn't great, but the reason was because you didn't have your key players of Rory Keating and Sean Maguire in your team. And I think obviously the pressure was put on Maguire for him to score the goals. You had Daniels and other certain players that were trying to help your team. But this new season in the first division is going to be very, very interesting. And I think Cork City will be favourites again like they were before for the first division title. Having Keating and Maguire back, especially Keating back, because I'll be honest, I think you guys really missed him at the up front, because when he's up front with Maguire, the goals always come. You know, one split second, if you give the ball straight to Keating or you give it to Maguire, they're gonna put it in the back of the net. Sean Maguire was obviously gonna leave. If you lost him, it would have been a big blow, because Sean Maguire is showing how important and how key he can be to Cork City's football team. They have new faces now. Simon Grayson is on board now with the Cork City board. They have a new manager now. The new manager has to put his own input into the Cork City team. Bring players in that are going to be important and that are going to get Cork City out of bad situations, because Cork City are a very good team. Last season, you got unlucky not to win, not to try and cause an upset in the FI Cup final against Shamrock Rovers. Lost that. But this season, I feel that Cork City can be the team that no one doesn't want to be playing. And I think they'll go on the same similar run like how Dundalk did, you know, when they were just unbeaten throughout the whole of the first division before it came to an end. But look, I think keeping Maguire and Keating is very, very fit. Keeping them fit will be very, very key, very, very key for Cork City. And I feel if they can get the goals, which is likely they will, I feel like they can go on and really win the first division title once again, get promoted back to the Premier Division, and really, really invest in their team. Because look, I respect Cork City very, very well as the team that they are. They are the underdogs. They are a team that no one doesn't want to be playing, because when they play, it's a different ball game with them. When you've got Bolger in there, you've got certain players who can cause so much problems for certain teams, and I think they will this year. I just feel like I think this could be Cork City's year again for them to really go on and win the first division title this season.
John, Finn Harps are known for being resilient. Do you think their style and characteristics will grind out big results this season, or not really?
Yeah, I think definitely they're a side like in the last couple of years they've probably they've kind of been down in the bottom half of the first division table. So like I think up there they'll have that expectation to really at least be in the playoff picture. And those characteristics as well, like as you were just mentioning in terms of Harps and the resilience, I think that's often, particularly at home up in Ballybuffet, that's really, no matter what conditions and no matter what kind of team Finn Harps have on the pitch, that's never an easy place to go and play a game of football. So like I think that any side, like even Cork City or as I mentioned, right, any team in the first division if you go up to Finn Harps and get your results, you're going to have to really earn it, And I think that although I think obviously Mbongo, them leaving the club and coming to Cork City would be a loss for him in the attacking third of the pitch. That he got a couple of goals in the second half of 2025. There's still that good blend. I think there's some good young players there, and then they've good experience. Torish and Tony McNamee. They have they've some good leaders and experienced heads in the squad as well. And I think like a lot of clubs, I think it'll be crucial for them to get off to a good start. But like I wouldn't rule out Finn Harps being one of those sides that creeps into one of the playoff spots come the end of the season as well.
Okay, next one is just here with the Finn Harps. Cornell, how big of a role do you think Finn Harps' atmosphere at home will play in their campaign?
I think the atmosphere for Finn Harps this year, I think will go in their favour this year. I do believe that Finn Harps will be in and around the playoff picture. I think they've shown how good they can be this year, and I think they've shown how fantastic that they can be on their day. Look, I think Finn Harps will be very, very optimistic about their season for the new season ahead. I think they'll be very, very confident that they can go and finish as high as they can in the table. So I want them to do well, which I believe they will. So I think as long as the fans can be behind their players, get behind them, cheer them on, I think they'll be all right.
All right, let's move to your neighbors. John, Kerry FC. Kerry's supporter travel initiative has been huge. I was so impressed last year. Do you think strong away backing could make a real difference in 2026?
Yes, absolutely. I think definitely, it might give them that extra support to kind of get over the line. And I think you really must credit Kerry FC for what they've done there as well, in terms of basically offering supporters, putting on free buses and free travel for supporters to away game, every single away game again this year in 2026. It's a fantastic initiative, and I suppose kudos and massive credit to everyone involved in Kerry FC for that. In terms of, though it's still in the fairly relatively early stages of them being a League of Ireland club, but though they really are kind of getting out and really trying to spread their reach around the county and grow the football club. And I think overall, my thought with Kerry this year as well, I think if you're looking at a team to be a dark horse in the first division to emerge out of the pack in terms of challenging for promotion or the playoffs, I think it could be Kerry FC. I think they really look like they could be that team to really have a breakout year. Colin Healy going in there, he's really putting his stamp and his vision on the club, and he's a coach with a great reputation, and he's highly regarded in the League of Ireland and in Irish football. And if you look at the squad, I think as well that they've recruited in terms of the squad there. Killian Cantwell going in there was a great addition into the club. It is a vast experience in League of Ireland football, and it kind of says it all, really. That the likes of like a Killian Cantwell, and I think he would have had offers from other clubs, in the likes of maybe Cork. So he could have been keeping an eye on him, or other clubs in the league. So it kind of says it all, really. And it says it all about the vision and the motivation of Colin Healy, that you're able to get players like that into the club. And also Borden coming in is a good addition from Galway United. Cian Murphy, formerly obviously Cork City, Cove Ramblers man, is a great addition there as well. Jonas Hakkinen, obviously another former Cork City and Cove Ramblers player as well, is down there. So they look like a team. And I think every season since they've been in the league, I think they haven't finished higher than 9th in the first division table. So I would be quite confident in saying, in terms of my predictions, I think that Galway will, or not Galway, but that Kerry FC will finish a bit higher up the table this year, and I would not rule them out being one of the teams that finishes up in the playoffs come the end of the season. That's for sure. And I think the cup semi-final, and around about the big backing that Joey, you were mentioning there earlier, I think that in terms of where Kerry are and getting that game up in the FAI Cup semi-final against Shamrock Rovers and Tala, like the backing that they bought home, they bought nearly about 1,000, probably even more that day up to Tallaght Stadium. The crowd was phenomenal that they bought up from Kerry, and it just shows you how far they've gone in such a short space of time. The strides that they've made, and I think they'll be looking to really. I think the next couple of years really could be exciting for Kerry FC, and I think in the short run, I think definitely this year they could be a side right in the mix of the playoffs.
Still on the Kerry's model of fan engagement, Cornell, does that give them an edge, or could it distract from on-field performance?
I think Kerry FC will give Kerry FC a lot of positive edge to really go on and be in the playoff picture this season. I think they've shown how quality they can be of a team. They've shown good qualities about them, and the players they have in their team are absolutely sensational. I think Kerry FC have shown that they have the comeback ability to really go into games and be the underdogs that they have self-proclaimed to deserve to be. And I think Kerry City, must not be underestimated this year, on being in the playoffs. And I think they'll go very, very far this year. So I think Kerry City have a very good momentum going into this new season as playoff contenders.
Moving to Longford Town, John, Longford have experience in promotion battles. Can we say that experience be a deciding factor this season?
Yeah, I would think so. Though they're a side that do have that aspiration to really kick on and be up like in the playoff picture, and I think they'll be another Longford or definitely a side. I think they will have aspirations of claiming one of those playoff places as well. So I think they ended last. They'll be looking to build on the momentum that they're going to build even towards the end of last season and bring that into 2026. Like they went on a good winning run, I think, towards the end of the year, and I think they made a late push for the playoffs. I think they only missed out by about 3 points, if I recall correctly, in the end. So they'll be looking to kick on again, and I think the setup and the aspirations, they'll be looking to really be one of those sides that they're in the mix for that playoff spot as well, and it'd be interesting to see how they go. And again, like all teams, I think it's going to Longford as well. It can be a tricky place to go as well. Saturday night up there in the Midlands, so like they'd be hoping as well to have a strong home form. That'll be crucial for them to have a platform for challenging for the playoffs.
Cornell, what do you see as Longford's biggest challenge in a tight division like First Division? Is it goals, defense, or rather consistency?
I think it's the lack of consistency that really worries me about Longford Town. I think the way that probably that Longford Town wants to play, maybe they can't play the way that they want, that the fans would expect them to do. But I think if they can improve that consistency going forward in defensively, I think they'll be a team. They'll be an all right team, and I think they'll have a very good season for them to really crack on. So I think it's just getting the consistency right and making sure that they're on the right path and they're finishing as high as they can for them to be within the playoff picture this new season.
John, Treaty United always bring intensity to games. Can they convert that into real points in 2026?
Yeah, I definitely believe so. I think the Treaty are the last couple of years, and I think Tommy Barrett as well. The last couple of years, he knows how to kind of really get that club. And often, maybe they probably, if you look at the resource, they've probably been punching above their weight, maybe at times as well in the last couple of years. But they're kind of. I look at kind of. I'll be around about kind of Drogheda in terms of how they're well resourced and how they're not well resourced, but how they get the best out of the resources that they have, and they're very well coached. Like Drogheda, they know to kind of get results at the league that they're in. And I think Treaty are very much kind of similar to that. I think in the First Division with Tommy Barrett, so he's a great manager, and he great tactician as well, though, in terms of what he's done there in the last couple of years. And it'd be interesting to know their kick off now Friday night against Cork City in Turner's Cross. Just thinking of Friday, and I think their record against Cork City has been fairly good. I think in the last couple of years, I think they actually won there the last time, if I recall, when they played their the season before last in the first division. So I think Treaty will be a side. I think that they'll push for it, and I think they'll be. I would definitely think they'll have aspirations at the very least being in one of those playoff spots as well.
Cornell, do you gather that Treaty have the tactical flexibility to adapt to different styles across the first division?
Yeah, I think they do. I think Treaty United are going to be, and I'm sorry to say it, I think they're going to be the new contenders for the first division title, and really be the new challengers for Cork City, I believe, because Treaty United are looking good at the moment. They're looking the team. They've improved their squad as you would expect them to do. The manager has really looked at the team and said where they went wrong last season and how they can capitalize on it this season, this new season coming for them. So I think I think Deverett will be a very, very key player for them if he can get them on the goals, which I believe he will. That I think he'll be all right. So I think for me, I could definitely say Treaty United, I think, will definitely be ones to watch this year with their team this year.
Let's move to UCD, John. The students, they often develop young prospects. Do you gather that youth could be an asset or rather a liability for them this year?
I think it could be definitely an asset for them. In terms of the model there, they always seem to kind of have to bring some of the kind of best young talents in the country, and their reputation really over the years. Really, if you look at the amount the players that have come through the UCD setup, if you were to, you can name a starting 11 maybe of some of the best players in the league that have gone through the Devise. You can list them all in terms of the David McMillans of this world, Ronan Finns, Greg Bollinger. They're just three guys off the top of my head. Kieran Kilduff, I think, as well was there. But there's many more. It really is a breeding ground for developing young players, and I think we'll probably see a couple of more emerge as the season goes on. They always seem to just have that knack of and I think maybe the model that they have there as well, in terms of the sports scholarships and offering the university degrees to players, and I think often the way they work, it gives them that luxury to kind of train the way that they're set up. I'd say they can train during the day at times as well, which is probably they have that kind of advantage over some of the maybe teams that are operating on a part-time model, maybe training 3 nights a week. Whereas at UCD, they have that luxury maybe of they could train at times if they wish during the day, or even doing that recovery after games and things like that. So, I think UCD, look, they'll be a side as well. I think that I think that those young lads will emerge, and I think the young, even though Ronan Finn is gone from them this year, or the experience that he has, or he's gone taking a role as a sporting director at Shamrock Rovers. But I think definitely it's an asset, and it always has been an asset for them, the young players, and I think it will be this year as well.
Cornell, does UCD's academic environment help or hinder their performance on the pitch?
I think their developments and improvements will help them. With no disrespect on it, I think UCD, will be probably looking to go into their youth academy and to bring in the next big talent to really boost their team up and really find a way for UCD to finish up the table as high as they can, or try and get a mid-table finish for them to really improve, because I think UCD have shown how good they are, of a team, and I think having players from the University of Dublin to really come out and really prove that they are the next big thing, and that they can really stamp their authority and stamp their quality on the pitch. I think it shows that they will come a very, very long way. But yeah, I think the developments will really improve, and I think it will get better, and I think there's more to come from UCD this new season, and I think they'll show their class and their quality as the team that they are.
Okay, we'll finish with Wexford, John, team that is often unpredictable. Could that work in their favor this season?
But potentially so. I think, and I think if you're looking at another a very experienced playing Stephen Elliott there as manager, obviously the former Ireland international, and looking at the squad they have, I think, to be honest, with Wexford, I think anything less than the playoffs would be seen as a disappointment for them, really. They've got good, especially attacking a third, Mikey Rowe, and I think also the guys that they've signed this year as well, they've recruited well. Max Murphy from Bray Wanderers, I think he scored 10 goals for Bray last year off the top of my head, but they've recruited well, and I think they'll be a side, I think, definitely, that I wouldn't be surprised if they finished in the top 3 or top 4 in the first division this year, to be honest, either. They look like a side, I think, that they have aspirations of being right in the playoff picture, and they'd be looking up rather than down this year, I think. In terms of unpredictability, I think they're looking to finish in the top end of the table, that's for sure.
Wexford, Cornell, if Wexford were to surprise the division, which part of the game do you think will be their biggest strength?
I think their biggest strength for the new season, I think, will definitely be going forward. I think their goal threat has proven that they can hurt any defense in the first division. So I think if they can carry on scoring the goals as they can and keeping their momentum up, I think they could shock certain teams in the first division and really cause an absolute upset this new season. So I think it will be more there going forward. I think that will be their biggest threat.
Right, gents, so we come to the end of our preview. Thank you very much for the insights. You'll be here to review it going forward. So thanks, John. Thanks, Cornell. I also want to thank the viewers for staying with us in this Monday. Thanks for listening to our Premier Division review and First Division preview. Stay with us. If you enjoyed the chat, make sure to subscribe to the podcast, drop us a like, and leave a comment letting us know who you think goes up and who you think will struggle. We'll be back very soon. Not sure about next Monday because I'll be traveling, but we'll be back very soon with more insights. Have a good week and talk soon. Take care.
Take care.
Yeah, take care. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thanks so much for watching. Click here for more episodes, subscribe here to catch the next ones, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section.